It's great to be here tonight. How many of you believe that God answers prayer? I got off to an early start with Christian parents. My father was a civil engineer in Minneapolis. He was working on a large construction project, building the St. Anthony Falls Dam and the big locks there at the Twin Cities. And he wanted to broaden the horizons of me, his 4-year-old son. And so on his way home from work, he bought a picture book. But Dad was in a hurry, and he got the wrong book. He thought he had something nice from National Geographic and was going to show me beautiful pictures of how the Indians lived, the native people in the Andes Mountains of Colombia and Ecuador. Challenged my young horizons for missions. But he had bought a book called The Awakening Valley from a freelance Life magazine photographer, and it showed it like it really is. Poverty, hunger, hopelessness, despair, drunkenness, bloody machete fights. It just got worse. And pretty soon my dad was trying to get the book away from me. He was going to get it closed and get rid of it. And I pried it open for one last look. And the last picture had a native family sitting beside the road. The husband was cut up from a bloody machete fight, passed out cold, drunk in the ditch. The wife and 6 or 8 little children were waiting for him to sober up so they could go back to their farm. And this was their life. Brutal work all week long, go to market town on the weekend, drink up the money, and get into trouble. I'd never seen anything like this in the Twin Cities. I said, why do they live like that? And my dad said, well, I guess they don't know any better. I said, well, why don't they know any better? And so my father said, well, I guess no one has ever gone to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with those people. Well, why hasn't anyone gone? And my dad said, well, Russ, I guess no one really loves those people. No one cares enough to go and share the gospel with them. So I turned around, I looked my dad square in the eye, and I said, but you care, don't you, Dad? And he said, yes, son, I care. And I said, well, why don't we go help them? It looked to me to be such a desperate situation, we better get going in the morning and go help those poor people. And my dad began to hem and haw. And he said, you can't just take off for South America, Russ. That would be missionary work. God would have to call you to be a missionary. God would have to provide the finances. God would have to open the doors. He went on and on. He laid it all on God. And then he came around to where he'd been wanting to go in the evening, and he said, maybe when you grow up, you can be a missionary. Well, he'd also been teaching me to pray, so I climbed off his lap. Wasn't getting anywhere with him. So I knelt down beside the sofa and prayed in a loud voice and said, Dear God, please call my parents to be missionaries so I won't have to wait till I grow up. Four years later, at age 8, our whole family was in Colombia, South America, as missionaries with the Wycliffe Bible Translators.